Vanessa's ex-husband, Donald Trump Jr., is, quote, cool with them dating. The exes were married for 12 years before Vanessa filed for divorce in 2018.
Tiger and Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife Vanessa have been in a relationship since Thanksgiving. This, according to People magazine sources. They were spotted in February at the Genesis Invitational in California.
For years, Vanessa Trump stayed silent while Don Jr. made headlines with his fiery political takes and controversial social media posts. But now, that silence is over, and what she's revealing isn't pretty.
Golf legend Tiger Woods has a new woman in his life, and you may be surprised who it is. None other than Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. The two have been spotted out together and have more in common than you might think.
After their 2018 divorce, Vanessa chose to step away from the chaos of the Trump name, and many people assumed she had nothing to say. But behind the scenes, there are secrets and a truth she's finally ready to share. What really happened between her and Don Jr., and why is she speaking out now? Stick around because what we're about to reveal will blow your mind. Vanessa Trump's relationship with Don Jr. Vanessa Trump and Donald Trump Jr.'s relationship began in the early 2000s, which was long before the Trump family became a dominant force in American politics. Their story started in 2003 when they were introduced at a fashion show by Donald Trump Sr. At the time, Vanessa was a model and aspiring actress, while Don Jr. was working for the family business.
That is what Donald Trump Jr. apparently did when he proposed to Vanessa Trump. The future Mrs. Trump might have received a $100,000 ring when Donald Jr. went down on one knee, but it was allegedly all a farce.
Their first meeting, however, was not particularly memorable. Vanessa later recalled that she met Don Jr. again at another event and didn't initially remember their first introduction, but after spending more time together, they hit it off and began dating. Their relationship progressed quickly, and within 2 years they were engaged. Don Jr. proposed in 2004 with a $100,000 engagement ring, which was provided for free by a jeweler in exchange for publicity. Their wedding took place on November 12, 2005 at Mar-a-Lago, the Trump family's private estate in Florida. The lavish event was officiated by Don's aunt, Judge Marianne Trump Barry. The couple settled into married life, and Vanessa took on the role of a supportive wife as Don Jr. pursued his business career. During their marriage, Vanessa and Don Jr. had 5 children: Kai, Donald III, Tristan, Spencer, and Chloe. Vanessa largely stayed out of the public eye and focused on raising their children while Don Jr. worked in real estate and later became a prominent figure in conservative politics. For years, they presented the image of a happy family, frequently appearing together at events and sharing moments from their life on social media. But behind the scenes, things weren't particularly rosy. Reports later surfaced that Don Jr. was not always fully present in their relationship. He was deeply focused on work, often traveling and immersing himself in business and politics. Some sources claimed that his obsession with social media and political commentary created tension in their marriage. Vanessa, who had once been a public figure, preferred a quieter life, which clashed with Don's growing need for public attention. By 2018, their marriage had reached a breaking point. In March of that year, Vanessa filed for an uncontested divorce.
Jr. and his wife Vanessa are getting a divorce. Vanessa Trump filed the paperwork yesterday in New York City. The couple has been married for 12 years and has 5 children. They issued a statement saying they have tremendous respect for each other.
This meant that both parties had already agreed on major issues, including custody and asset division, avoiding a lengthy legal battle. The divorce was finalized by the end of 2018, which was the end of their 13-year marriage. At the time, there were a lot of rumors about what led to their split. Some reports suggested that Vanessa was unhappy with the increasing political scrutiny that came with being part of the Trump family. Others pointed to allegations that Don Jr. had been unfaithful. It was reported that he had an affair with singer Aubrey O'Day, while Vanessa was pregnant with their 3rd child. This alleged affair was said to have caused huge strain in their relationship, though neither Don Jr. nor Vanessa publicly confirmed the details. Despite their divorce, Vanessa and Don Jr. maintained a co-parenting relationship. Sources close to the family stated that Vanessa wanted to keep things amicable for the sake of their children. She remained on good terms with the Trump family and was seen at various family gatherings even after the divorce. Unlike other high-profile divorces, their split did not result in bitter public disputes. In the years following their divorce, Don Jr. moved on and started dating Kimberly Guilfoyle, a former Fox News host and political commentator. Vanessa, on the other hand, largely stayed out of the spotlight. She focused on raising their children and did not publicly date anyone for several years. Their post-divorce relationship remained civil, with Vanessa occasionally showing support for Don Jr. on social media. Over time, both moved forward with their separate lives. Don Jr. became more deeply involved in politics, aligning himself closely with his father's political career. Vanessa, meanwhile, continued to maintain a private life, avoiding political controversies. But while Vanessa liked to keep a low profile, Don Jr. did not share the same sentiment. In fact, he had created a huge controversial reputation for himself that sometimes led to Vanessa speaking to the public on his behalf. Keep watching to find out what opinions Don Jr. had that led to him developing a controversial reputation.
Following 12 years of marriage and 5 children, Donald Trump Jr. and his wife Vanessa are filing for divorce. One of the last times the family was pictured together was in this Instagram photo Don Jr. posted in February.
Don's controversial reputation. Don Jr. has built a reputation that is as controversial as it is attention-grabbing. As the eldest son of former President Donald Trump, he has spent much of his life in the public eye. But it was during his father's presidency that he became a particularly polarizing figure. While some people see him as a strong supporter of conservative values, others view him as a divisive and aggressive political player. His reputation has been shaped by his outspoken nature, his involvement in political scandals, and his tendency to use social media to attack opponents. Whether he is defending his father, pushing conspiracy theories, or making controversial remarks, he is rarely out of the headlines for long. One of the biggest controversies surrounding Don Jr. is his involvement in the 2016 presidential campaign and the infamous Trump Tower meeting. In June 2016, he met with a group of Russians who claimed to have damaging information about Hillary Clinton. This meeting, which included Jared Kushner and Paul Manafort, raised questions about possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. When news of the meeting became public in 2017, Don Jr. initially claimed that it was about adoption policies, but later emails revealed that he had eagerly accepted the meeting in hopes of gaining political dirt on Clinton. Things don't end there. Apart from his political dealings, Don Jr. is also known for his aggressive use of social media. Unlike traditional politicians who carefully craft their messages, he takes a more unfiltered approach. He frequently posts inflammatory comments, attacks on political opponents, and memes that many people find offensive. His social media activity has included sharing conspiracy theories, mocking liberals, and pushing false claims about elections. Another major controversy in Don's life is his connection to gun rights activism and trophy hunting. He is an outspoken supporter of the Second Amendment and often appears at events promoting gun ownership. While many conservatives praise him for defending gun rights, he has also faced significant criticism for his hunting trips.
Of course, people on the terrorist watch list shouldn't get firearms, but what they don't talk about is they don't talk about the million people that are on the terrorist watch list that have no business being on the terrorist watch list.
Photos of him posing with dead exotic animals, including elephants and leopards, sparked outrage among animal rights activists. Many people see these hunting trips as cruel and unnecessary, but he has defended them by saying they support conservation efforts. Regardless of his explanation, his involvement in big game hunting has added to his reputation as a figure who thrives on controversy. In addition to his political and social media controversies, Don Jr. has also faced backlash over his business dealings. As an executive at the Trump Organization, he has been linked to several questionable financial practices. Critics argue that the Trump family has long blurred the lines between business and politics, using their influence to benefit their personal wealth. Some reports suggest that Don Jr. played a role in securing international business deals that raised ethical concerns. While he has never been convicted of any financial crimes, the scrutiny surrounding his business activities has added to public skepticism about his character and motivations. Despite the many controversies surrounding him, Don Jr. remains a key figure in conservative politics. He regularly speaks at rallies, appears on right-wing media, and promotes Republican candidates who align with his views. As expected, he has both fans and critics. But how do these different groups view his actions and public persona? Stay tuned to find out. The public's perception of Don Jr. Over the years, Don Jr. has built a strong and loyal following among conservatives, but at the same time, he has also become one of the most criticized figures in American politics. Some people see him as a brave and outspoken patriot who stands up for conservative values, while others see him as a reckless and divisive figure who spreads conspiracy theories and attacks his political opponents in an aggressive manner. His public image is complex, and depending on who is asked, Don Jr. is either a hero or a villain. Apart from the Trump Tower meeting in June 2016, Don Jr. is also known for his strong presence on social media, especially Twitter. He frequently attacks Democrats, journalists, and anyone who criticizes his father. His supporters love his boldness and the way he directly challenges the media, which they believe is biased against conservatives. They see him as someone who speaks the truth and is not afraid to take on powerful elites. On the other hand, his critics believe he spreads conspiracy theories, makes offensive remarks, and engages in unnecessary fights on social media. Another major event that contributed to Don Jr.'s public image was the January 6, 2021, attack on the U.S. Capitol. Before the riot, he gave a speech at a rally, telling Trump supporters to fight like hell to overturn the election results.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn in the past few hours, as thousands of supporters of President Trump stormed the U.S. Capitol building, venting their anger at the victory of Joe Biden in the presidential election.
Many people blamed him for encouraging violence, arguing that his words helped inspire the attack. His critics said this proved he was dangerous and irresponsible, but his supporters claimed that he was simply expressing his frustration over what he believed was a stolen election. In the days that followed, social media platforms banned several Trump allies, and Don Jr. became one of the loudest voices accusing tech companies of silencing conservatives. This made him even more popular among Trump's base, but even more disliked by his opponents. Despite his controversies, Don Jr. remains an influential figure in conservative politics. In 2022, he launched a podcast and continued to campaign for Republican candidates in elections. He frequently appears at political rallies, giving speeches in support of his father and other conservative politicians. His supporters see him as a future leader of the Republican Party, someone who could one day run for office himself. Meanwhile, his critics believe that he is unqualified and dangerous, arguing that his aggressive style and willingness to embrace conspiracy theories make him unfit for political leadership. One reason Don Jr. is so polarizing is that he is deeply loyal to his father. Throughout Donald Trump's presidency from 2017 to 2021, Don Jr. defended him against all criticism, attacking anyone who opposed him. His supporters admire his loyalty and see him as a strong warrior for the Trump agenda, but critics believe that he blindly follows his father and refuses to acknowledge any of his mistakes. In 2023, when Donald Trump was indicted in multiple legal cases, Don Jr. was one of his most vocal defenders, calling the charges a witch hunt and politically motivated. This divided public opinion even more, with conservatives rallying around him and liberals seeing him as dishonest. The public's perception of Don Jr. also depends on where they get their news. Conservative media outlets, such as Fox News and Breitbart, often portray him as a brave and honest patriot who fights for the truth. On the other hand, liberal media outlets, such as CNN and the New York Times, often depict him as a reckless figure who spreads misinformation and fuels division. This media divide has made it difficult for people to agree on who Don Jr. really is. At the end of the day, it is clear that Don Jr. is a deeply polarizing figure in American politics. His supporters see him as a bold, fearless leader who is unafraid to challenge the establishment, while his critics see him as an irresponsible and dangerous provocateur. His public image has been shaped by his involvement in his father's campaigns, his controversial statements, his social media presence, and his role in key political events like the Trump Tower meeting and the January 6th riot. Whether he will remain a major political figure in the future or fade from the spotlight remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure: Don Jr. will continue to be a subject of debate and discussion for years to come. Well, what do you think about what Vanessa Trump had to say about Don Jr.? But while that was happening, some unbelievable things were found in his estate that will leave you in shock. Treasures like his rare Kachina dolls, priceless Native American artifacts, and other valuable items were found. How did Wayne keep these hidden, and how did his family react to what was left behind? Join us as we reveal what was found in John Wayne's estate that will leave you in shock. The unusual discoveries in John Wayne's estate. John Wayne was an actor with an interesting personality and a combination of even more interesting assets found in his estate. But before we get into that, let's see what was actually in his will that led to the shocking discoveries in his estate. John S. Warren, Wayne's lawyer, filed the 27-page document in Orange County Superior Court. It stated that Wayne's estate included $1 million in real estate, $5.75 million in personal property, and $100,000 in income from his investments. Interestingly, his wife at the time, Pilar Wayne, wasn't mentioned in the will, but Warren explained that she had already been provided for in their separation agreement. Wayne did leave money to two of his longtime secretaries. Mary St. John, who had worked for him for years, received $10,000, while Pat Stacy, his secretary at the time of his death, got $30,000. But what about his third wife? And what did he leave for his children? Stay tuned, because the most interesting part is just ahead. Wayne left each of his 7 children a sum based on multiplying $5,000 by the years between their age and 21. His oldest son, Michael, who was 44, received $115,000. His valuable art collection, which included paintings, sculptures, and Native American artifacts, wasn't passed to his family, but was donated to organizations that could offer tax benefits to his estate. The rest of his estate went into trust accounts, with one providing his first wife, Josephine, $3,000 a month for life, with the remaining funds going to their 4 children after her passing. His second wife, Esperanza, had passed away earlier. Wayne also had land holdings, including his Arizona ranch, which was part of his personal property through shares in a corporation. His ranch partner, Lewis Johnson, was named a trustee of the estate. He also owned a home in Newport Harbor and land on Puget Sound in Washington. Another major asset was his production company, Batjack Productions, Inc., which Wayne left to Michael, who had been involved with it for years. Michael was also named one of the administrators of the estate, alongside Mr. Warren and Mr. Johnson. Now, here's where it gets interesting. 2 people were specifically left out of Wayne's will. First, Pilar Wayne, but as mentioned earlier, that was due to their separation agreement. The second was Donald LaCava, the husband of Wayne's eldest daughter, Toni. Not only did Wayne exclude him, but he also made sure Donald couldn't inherit anything from Toni's share if she passed away. When asked why, Wayne's lawyer refused to give an explanation. Beyond the will and who got what, some really unexpected things were found in John Wayne's estate, things that will shock your shock absorber. One of the biggest surprises was his huge collection of Kachina dolls. Wayne had a deep appreciation for Native American culture, which led him to collect 81 of these beautifully crafted figures, which come from Hopi traditions. These dolls weren't just decorations, they were used to teach about different deities. After he passed away in 1979, his entire collection was given to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City, where some of them are still on display today. Wayne's collection had some surprising gems, like a rare set of the North American Indian by Edward S. Curtis, with only 200 copies made, showing how much he respected Native American history. He also had Buddhist Thai statues in his home, reflecting an interest in spirituality and different cultures. In 2011, his belongings were auctioned off, and the results were jaw-dropping. His green wool beret from the Green Berets went for $179,250, and his driver's license sold for $89,625. But the most iconic item, his eye patch from True Grit, brought in $47,800. With all these finds, Wayne's family didn't have to worry about money. Each discovery only added to their wealth. John Wayne's 3 wives and 7 children. John Wayne's family continues to profit from his enduring popularity. In 2013, he almost made it onto Forbes' list of top-earning dead celebrities. In 2011, his son Ethan Wayne auctioned over 700 pieces of his father's memorabilia, raising $5.38 million for the heirs. Ethan runs John Wayne Enterprises, which manages his father's name and image. The company is owned by Wayne's 7 children from his 2 marriages, though his second marriage didn't have kids, and 2 of his children passed away, leaving their shares to their own kids. When Ethan took over, he decided to auction off items and find new ways to profit from his father's legacy, sparking legal battles. In 2006, he fought his half-brother's widow over valuable memorabilia. In 2010, his sister sued him and the company to buy out her share, with the siblings unable to agree on the company's value. Most recently, Ethan launched Duke Spirits, using his father's name to sell Kentucky bourbon, after finding handwritten notes and bottles of his dad's favorite brands while going through old boxes. He partnered with a wine company to create the new drink. But what about his love life? How did he end up with 7 children? Get ready, it gets more interesting. Wayne was married 3 times and divorced twice. His first wife, Josephine Alicia Sanz, was of Spanish-American descent. His second and third wives, Esperanza Bauer and Pilar Palete, were from Latin America. He had 4 children with Josephine: Michael Wayne, Mary Antonia Tony Wayne LaCava, Patrick Wayne, and Melinda Wayne Munoz. With Pilar, he had 3 more kids: Isa Wayne, John Ethan Wayne, and Marissa Wayne. Several of Wayne's children followed his career into film and TV. Ethan, sometimes called John Ethan Wayne, appeared in movies and had a lead role in the 1990s Adam 12 reboot. He also appeared on Pawn Stars to authenticate items related to his father. His granddaughter Jennifer Wayne, Aisa's daughter, is in the country music group Runaway June. In 1973, Pilar, who loved tennis, encouraged Wayne to build the John Wayne Tennis Club in Newport Beach, California. The club was sold to Ken Stewart, the former general manager, in 1995, and became the Palisades Tennis Club. In the 1952 film The Quiet Man, Wayne tells Michaeline Oge Flynn, played by Barry Fitzgerald, that he's 6 feet 4.5, and Pilar later confirmed this in her book John Wayne, My Life with the Duke. Wayne's divorce from his second wife, Esperanza Bauer, was full of drama. She believed he was having an affair with co-star Gail Russell, but both Wayne and Russell denied it, after filming Angel and the Bad Man. Wayne came home late to find Esperanza drunk and in a rage. She tried to shoot him as he entered the door. Wayne had several well-known affairs, including one with actress Merle Oberon that lasted from 1938 to 1947. After separating from Pilar in 1973, Wayne started a relationship with his former secretary, Pat Stacey, and they lived together until his death in 1979. Stacey even published a book about their time together in 1983, called Duke, A Love Story. Despite all these, John Wayne also had a humble beginning. John Wayne's early life, career, and legacy. You might be surprised to know that John Wayne wasn't always called by that name. He was born Marion Robert Morrison in Winterset, Iowa. In the May 30th, 1907 edition of the local paper, Winterset Madisonian, it was reported that Wayne weighed 13 pounds at birth. He wasn't your typical child either. Growing up in Iowa, Marion developed a love for sports early on, and one of his favorite activities was playing football with his dad, who had played college football. In December 1912, Marion's brother, Robert Emmett Morrison, was born. Not long after that, the Morrison family decided to move to California. Marion's dad had developed a health issue, and doctors suggested the dry climate could help improve his condition. In 1916, the Morrisons settled in Glendale, California. The town of Glendale was a perfect spot for the family with its nice weather and small-town charm. It was here that Marion got the nickname Duke. His dog, Duke, an Airedale, was always by his side, and Marion would often visit the local firehouse with him. The firefighters knew the dog's name, so they started calling Marion Duke, and it stuck. Duke Morrison, a member of the class of 1925 at Glendale High School, was involved in sports and school activities. He played football as part of the champion varsity team and was a 170-pound guard. He did well in school, too, earning the Bronze Honor Pin and writing for the school newspaper, The Explosion. He also got involved in student government, becoming junior class representative, vice president, and later president for the class of 1925. Duke also helped plan the senior class dance and reception. His athletic talent and academic achievements earned him a college scholarship to the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. There, he joined the Sigma Chi fraternity and kept up his good grades, studying pre-law. While at USC, Duke worked part-time with some of his football teammates at Fox Film Corp. He was part of the crew moving set props and occasionally worked as an extra, often playing a football player. In 1926 and 1927, Duke appeared in films like Brown of Harvard, where he played a Yale football player, and Drop Kick, where he played a USC football player. So with all this football action, how did he end up becoming a filmmaker? You're on the edge of your seat, and it's about to get even better. After a football injury ended his scholarship at the University of Southern California, John Wayne started working at Fox Film Corporation, where he became friends with director John Ford. His first leading role came in The Big Trail, 1930, but it was his performance as the Ringo Kid in Ford's Stagecoach, 1939, that truly made him a star. This role made Wayne a top figure in Hollywood, especially in Western films. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, Wayne continued to rise as a box office favorite, starring in a series of successful films that showed off his versatility and presence on screen. He worked with famous directors like John Ford and Howard Hawks, creating timeless classics like Red River, 1948, The Quiet Man, 1952, and The Searchers, 1956. His portrayal of more complex characters in these films proved he was more than just the typical Western hero. In 1969, Wayne won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role as Rooster Cogburn in True Grit, solidifying his place in American cinema history. In the 1940s, Wayne supported the U.S. military, traveling to the front lines during World War II with the USO. He loved spending time with family and friends on his yacht, the Wild Goose, which became a regular sight in Newport Harbor. When Wayne was diagnosed with lung cancer, he didn't want to keep it a secret, saying, "There's a hell of a lot of good image in John Wayne beating cancer." Even after losing a lung, he continued taking on physically demanding roles and advocated for early cancer checkups, doing public service announcements for the American Cancer Society. Wayne also co-owned a 39-mile cattle ranch in Arizona, the 26 Bars Ranch, which raised over 400 Hereford bulls a year and often won awards. He loved attending stock shows and making speeches. In 1980, on his 72nd birthday, Wayne was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, which was presented to his family, and friends like Maureen O'Hara spoke in support. To honor him further, in 1979, Orange County Airport was renamed John Wayne Airport, and visitors were greeted by a 9-foot bronze statue of Wayne, capturing his iconic Western look, forever remembering one of the greatest stars of the 20th century. Lee's one-inch punch. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch is the most well-known move in martial arts history. As its name suggests, the one-inch punch is a technique martial artists use to hit targets at incredibly close range. The thought that, if done right, an attacker can exert enough force to bring down his opponent makes it unique. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch gained widespread recognition as early as the 1960s, about 10 years before Lee rose to prominence as a global martial arts celebrity. Lee became famous when he demonstrated it at the Beach Karate National Championship. At the time, The martial arts community took notice of him widely. Interest in Lee's one-inch punch increased dramatically as his notoriety increased. Although Lee made the move so famous that many renowned martial artists from different kung fu forms now utilize it, let us know in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the following video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.